Hello students, welcome to Ekam Academy. I am Major Oberoi. We are continuing with our answer writing series on Indian economy. As we know, we are doing chapter 3 today. Chapter 3 on economic planning, evolution and strategy. Today's question I have picked up from the Niti Aayog's report related to planning in India. So while I was reading the report, I felt that one dimension of planning that needs to be practiced by the students for this year mains is basically the shortcomings of the economic planning in India. So the question is asking, throw light on the shortcomings of the economic planning in India. Okay? So let's start writing. It is a 250 words question. It means 15 marks would be awarded for this. See, generally planning, when India became independent, you understand that we did not have any experience of running the country, be it political or be it economic. So as a new country, we were primarily influenced by the socialist planned approach to development. That is the reason why India embraced planned economic growth. So what the demand of the question is, in this 75 years, have we been successful in ensuring planning as a vehicle for ensuring growth or development in our country? So while talking about it, we are trying to write the shortcomings of the economic planning in India. Okay? Now, because it is a little critical question, so our introduction also needs to be a little dynamic in its nature. Okay, so let's start writing. While planning ensured that India moves up in its economic performance, from a least developed country to a developing country and emerging market economy and an emerging market economy, the shortcomings of planning also need to be highlighted so that concerted means all efforts in one direction, concerted efforts can plug this gap as well. So this is how a dynamic introduction we have given to this question. In the main body, one blot that the planning has to carry for a long period of time is in its failure of removing inequality in India. Full stop. As per the World Inequality Report 2022, India remains to be one of the most unequal countries in the world. Unequal countries in the world, with 1%, with top 1% of population population owning 22% of its wealth and top 10% owning 57% of it. So this happens to be the biggest blot that the planning failed to achieve. The second and glaring shortcoming or failure is in removing poverty from India. Here you can make, as per the recent report of Niti Aayog, 14.9% of India's population still lives under, very, very important, the poverty line. So this is one more blot on our planning in our country. Failure, inequality, removing poverty, failure in removing the poverty. Third, another important aspect, the planning also failed in controlling inflation that affects poor the most. Planning also faces criticism in addressing the issue of unemployment among the youth, which time and again rakes up political turmoil. The other criticism which is on a broader canvas, is related to regional inequality in development. Very, very important. The planning failed to compensate resource-rich states with adequate growth and development. Very, very important. Okay? Planning also struggled to, this is very important, dimension of planning, also struggled to address issues related to bureaucratic red tapeism, delay in decision making, comma, skepticism for embracing technology in time that costed the country its potential growth, This is one dimension. One more, very, very important. Planning completely failed to address the growing problem of corruption in governance. That kept many deserving beneficiaries out of state support. So almost every dimension related to either growth or development we have spoken in these 3 slides. What all dimensions can be? We spoke about inequality here. We spoke about removing poverty here. Then we spoke about what you call inflation, inability to control inflation. Then we spoke about unemployment. Then we spoke about regional inequality, which is very important. Then we also spoke about issues related to bureaucratic red tapeism. Then we also spoke about it was delaying embracing technology. Then very, very important, we spoke about corruption. So these are the major dimensions where planning failed to ensure the growth in the country. In conclusion, very, very important, though the question is asking to find out what you call shortcomings in planning, but we need to give a positive approach towards our conclusion. Though planning can be blamed for the above mentioned shortcomings, it deserves appreciation in the field of education, very, very important, in the field of education, healthcare, infrastructure development, comma, education, healthcare, infrastructure development, foreign trade, etc., where we have crossed milestones after milestones, walking on the path designed by our economic planners. In fact, here education, you can talk about the literacy rate. Healthcare, you can talk about the better standards of healthcare today. Infrastructure development, yes, you can talk about many dimensions. Foreign trade, where so many aspects related to foreign trade are improving. You can talk all these dimensions, giving example 1, 1, 1, 1. Healthcare, like we got rid of polio, we got rid of chicken pox, all these dimensions can be written. So it is not all blaming or shortcomings in planning. There are certain shades of positive responses also that have been made possible as a result of efficient and effective planning by our policy makers. Okay? So this is how about this today's question, shortcomings of our economic plan. Okay? Thank you very much for watching this video. Do continue to write answer every day 10 to 15 minutes. Few of the students were asking, sir, your language and the vocabulary that you are using is very hard and very difficult to follow. Trust me, I'll try to reduce the vocabulary, but at the same time, I would request you try to improve upon, because every subject has its own vocabulary. You need to start writing using those terminologies to get more marks. So the entire effort is to improve your, what you call quality of answer writing. Thank you very much. Keep following. Jai Hind.